The stillness within, the secret home of peace. Hello again. It's good to have you here. Maybe you've come carrying noise, the weight of too many thoughts, too many unfinished things. Or maybe you've just been moving so fast that you forgot what silence feels like. Either way, this moment, right now, is yours. Let's breathe together. The restless heart. There's a kind of restlessness that hums quietly beneath modern life. A pulse that keeps us moving, even when there's nowhere left to go. It's in the way our fingers reach for the phone without thinking. The way our minds keep spinning long after the lights go out. The way we fill every silence before it even arrives. We call it progress. We call it productivity. But often, it's just noise, the noise we've mistaken for life. We live surrounded by motion, screens flicker, notifications whisper, cities never sleep. There's always something to chase, something to fix, something to prove. And in that endless movement, we start to believe that stillness is a waste. That peace is something we'll earn once we've done enough. Once we've become enough. But the truth is simpler and harder. We are restless not because the world is too loud, but because our hearts have forgotten how to listen. Inside each of us, there's a quiet center, a space that doesn't need achievement, validation, or applause. It simply is. But like a lake disturbed by wind, our thoughts ripple across it endlessly. And we can no longer see our own reflection. Sometimes, late at night, when the world finally softens, you might feel it, that ache beneath the surface. The kind that doesn't come from hunger or loss, but from a longing you can't name. It's the heart whispering, "I'm tired of running." It's the soul asking, "When do we rest?" Yet resting is not easy in a world that worships movement. We've been taught that stopping means falling behind. That silence means emptiness. That peace means we've given up the fight. So we keep going, even when the ground beneath us has turned to dust. We keep chasing the horizon, hoping the next success, the next moment, the next person will finally quiet the noise inside. But it never does it? Because what we're chasing isn't out there. It's within. There's a reason every ancient wisdom, from the scriptures to the sutras, speaks of the heart as both battlefield and sanctuary. It is where the storms of life meet the quiet of eternity. And it's where we must go if we ever wish to find peace that lasts. But the journey inward is not glamorous. It begins with discomfort, with sitting still long enough to feel what we've been running from. The loneliness, the fear, the grief, all the things that busyness kept at bay. At first, it feels unbearable. The silence seems too wide. The self, too loud. But if you stay, if you breathe, the chaos begins to soften. Like dust settling after a long wind, clarity begins to return. You start to see how much of your life has been driven by noise. The need to be seen, to be right, to be needed. You start to realize that half your exhaustion came not from what life demanded, but from what your own mind refused to release. And then, something miraculous happens. For the first time in a long while, you don't want to run anymore. You don't want to fix or force or fill. You just want to be. It's not the dramatic peace we imagine. No blinding revelation, no sudden transcendence. It's small, subtle, Like the moment the ocean calms after a storm. You simply feel your breath again, and for a moment, that's enough. That's where stillness begins. Not in perfection, but in permission. The permission to stop pretending you have to hold it all together. Peace doesn't come when life becomes easier. It comes when we stop believing that peace depends on ease. It comes when we allow the heart to rest. Not because everything is right, but because we are done fighting what is. Perhaps that's why the restless heart is also the most human one. It beats with longing, with hope, with ache, all signs of life. The goal isn't to silence it completely. It's to listen deeply enough that its restlessness turns into rhythm, and its ache becomes invitation. Because beneath every restless pulse, there is something sacred calling you back. Back to the center, back to stillness, back to the secret home of peace you never truly lost. Listening to the silence. There comes a moment, fragile, barely noticeable, when the noise begins to thin. It doesn't stop all at once. It slows. Like the end of a storm, when the rain softens into mist, and you can finally hear the earth breathe again. That's how silence arrives. Not as an absence, but as a presence. Not as something empty, but as something vast, alive, waiting, full of truth we've forgotten how to hear. For most of our lives, we think silence is nothing. We fill it with sound, with distraction, with words that tumble from our mouths simply because we're afraid of what might rise if we didn't speak. But silence is not a void. It is a mirror. And when we dare to look into it, it shows us who we are. At first, that can feel unbearable. The mind fidgets. The body resists. You'll notice how quickly you reach for your phone. How naturally your thoughts wander toward the next task, the next memory, the next imagined future. The modern world has trained us to equate stillness with stagnation. But silence, real silence, is not passive. It's powerful. It's where the soul begins to speak again. When you sit quietly, when you stop filling the air with noise, something ancient awakens. It begins as a whisper, faint, familiar. It might sound like the echo of a memory, or the pulse of your own heartbeat. Then slowly, you realize it's not something outside you at all. It's life itself, humming softly inside your chest. The silence doesn't erase your thoughts, it reveals them. You start to see how loud your inner world really is, how many stories you tell yourself, how many fears you carry, how much noise you've been holding beneath your own skin. And yet, instead of running from it, you begin to listen. Not to fix, not to judge, just to hear. That's when something shifts. In the listening, you start to notice spaces between the noise, brief pauses, moments of pure awareness. You begin to sense that there's a current beneath everything, gentle, steady, unmoving. And in that current, there is peace. Not the kind that depends on quiet rooms or distant mountains, but the kind that lives within you, right in the center of chaos. You realize that silence was never about shutting the world out. It was about opening yourself enough to truly feel it. The laughter, the pain, the uncertainty, all of it part of one vast and living harmony. Silence doesn't mute the world, it tunes you back to it. Listen long enough, and you'll hear the pulse of existence in everything. The sound of wind through the trees isn't just air, it's time moving gently. The hush before dawn isn't emptiness, it's creation waiting to begin again. And the quiet between your breaths? That's eternity, right there, hidden in the rhythm of your own being. When you listen deeply, you begin to understand that peace isn't something to achieve. It's something to allow. It was always there, under the weight of your rushing, under the hum of your fear. You don't have to go anywhere to find it. You just have to stop long enough to remember. In that remembrance, silence becomes sacred again. It becomes not the enemy of progress, but the root of clarity. Not a pause in your story, but the space that gives the story meaning. Every musician knows this truth. It's not the notes that make the music. It's the silence between them. Life, too, is composed of pauses. And in those pauses, you can hear what the world has been trying to tell you all along. So maybe peace isn't found by escaping the noise, but by listening through it, until you can hear the stillness singing beneath everything. Listen long enough, and even your own heart becomes a prayer. The deep river of being. When you surrender to silence long enough, you discover something remarkable, a river flowing beneath everything you thought you knew. It is not a river of water, but a river of being. A current that carries you not forward in time, but inward into the essence of who you are. At first, it feels unfamiliar. The world has trained us to measure life by movement, by achievements, by external markers of success. But this river flows independently of ambition. It is patient, ancient, and gentle. It does not rush. It does not demand. It simply exists, inviting you to be carried along. There is a strange courage in allowing yourself to float in this river. To let the current guide you rather than your striving mind. To release the frantic grip on outcomes, the compulsion to control, the fear of being lost. For in truth, in this river, you are never lost. You are merely rediscovering the way you have always moved. The deeper you enter, the more you notice the subtle harmonies of life. The rise and fall of your own breath becomes a song. The beating of your heart, a drum of infinite patience. Even your thoughts, once relentless, now drift like leaves on water, observed, but not grasped. Here, the river teaches a profound lesson. Life does not need to be forced. It is not a puzzle to solve or a battle to win. It is a flow to inhabit. And when you learn to move with it rather than against it, you begin to feel the deep and unshakable peace that has been waiting for you all along. In the stillness of this current, you begin to see the beauty of impermanence. Everything moves, yet nothing is lost. The wind through the trees, the light across the water, the pulse of your own heartbeat, all transient, yet eternal. Life's rhythm is revealed not in accumulation, but in acceptance. Not in clinging, but in surrender. There is also a clarity here, a vision that comes from being fully present. You start to notice the spaces between things. The unspoken words, the pauses in conversation, the quiet moments at dawn before the world stirs. These spaces are not empty. They are sacred. They are where the river of being flows most strongly. Where the heart remembers what it has always known. And sometimes, in this depth, you may feel small, insignificant even. Yet paradoxically, this is also where you feel most alive. Because when the self dissolves into the river, you touch the infinite. The quiet magnificence of simply existing. Without labels, without judgment, without striving. It is here, in this wordless, flowing space, that you realize the secret of peace. It has never been something to find. It has been here all along, carried gently beneath the surface of life, waiting for you to stop paddling, to stop forcing, to stop thinking you must arrive somewhere to matter. The river does not ask you to become. It only asks you to be, to trust, to surrender to what already is. And as you float in this current, the world around you changes. Not because it has shifted, but because your perception has. What once felt heavy now feels light. What once felt urgent now feels tender. The river carries not only your body, but your heart, your mind, your soul. And in that gentle transport, you find a quiet joy that is unshakable, enduring, infinite. This is the deep river of being. It is the home of your inner life. The place where nothing needs to be fixed, nothing needs to be earned, nothing needs to be explained. Everything simply is, and that is enough. Returning to the secret home. And so, after the restless heart and the patient listening, after floating in the deep river of being, we arrive at the place we have been seeking all along. Not a place on a map, not a destination in time, but a secret home, hidden within the quiet of our own souls. It is a home we have always known, though we forgot its address. It is where the heartbeat of life meets the pulse of our own being. Where the layers of fear, doubt, and longing fall away like leaves in autumn. Here, we are not striving. Here, we are not performing. Here, we simply are. You may not hear it at first. It whispers softly, like the first note of a song you thought you had lost. It calls you gently, reminding you that peace is not something to be chased, but something to be remembered. You realize, in a breath that stretches across eternity, that this home has never been far, that it was quietly waiting inside you all along. Here, the world slows to the rhythm of your own soul. The noise that once pressed in from every side fades, replaced by the subtle music of presence. Your thoughts, your worries, your endless lists, all still exist, but none of them demand attention. They are like clouds moving across a calm sky, passing without leaving weight behind. And in this secret home, you discover a truth that is both simple and infinite. You have never been separate from peace. It is not a reward for endurance, nor a gift reserved for a select few. It is your birthright. It is the constant hum beneath the surface of life. Always there, waiting for the day you remember how to listen. To return here is to return to yourself. To sit quietly with the body, the breath, the heart. To let each inhale and exhale anchor you in presence. To witness life without judgment, without striving, without resistance. To know that in this stillness, nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be explained. Nothing needs to be rushed. And yet, paradoxically, in this stillness, life blooms more vividly than ever. You notice the texture of sunlight on your skin, the subtle fragrance of air after rain, the delicate rhythm of a bird's song in the distance. Every moment is alive. Every sensation is profound. Because in returning home, you have opened your eyes to the sacredness that was always here, even when you were too busy to see. The secret home of peace is not a place of absence. It is a place of fullness. A place where love, joy, grief, and wonder coexist without conflict. A place where the river of being flows freely. Where the restless heart can rest. And the fragments of self find gentle integration. Here, you remember what you once forgot. That life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be embraced. That happiness is not a destination, but a companion that arises naturally, when we stop chasing and begin to inhabit the moment fully. And as you sit here, in this sacred inner home, you realize that the journey was never about getting somewhere else. It was about returning. Returning to the breath. Returning to the heart. Returning to the stillness that is your essence. Sometimes, all it takes is a single pause. A single moment of listening. A single conscious breath. And in that pause, the universe opens quietly within you. And you are home. So breathe, dear one. Sit. Feel. And let the silence wrap around you like a soft light. This is the place that was always yours. The secret home of peace, waiting patiently, just beneath the surface of your restless days.